In today's movie, we will see how a girl's boyfriend, along with his two other friends, rapes his own girlfriend, and after this, how the girl will take her revenge from these three monsters. Do let us know in the comments how you liked the movie. The movie starts, and we see a rich man named Richard who is going for a vacation to a desert with his girlfriend. Richard is already married, but he has a relationship with Jennifer. Now Richard comes to this desert with Jennifer for 2 days for hunting. Now after this, when Richard reaches his house, his pilot welcomes him there and gives him a drug. Richard comes inside the house. Here Richard and Jennifer start getting intimate. Now the next morning, Jennifer opens her eyes and she makes coffee for herself. Then she sees that 2 men are standing in front of the glass, and both these men have guns in their hands. Seeing this, Jennifer gets scared and calls Richard. Richard comes to Jennifer and tells her that both of them are his friends. Their names are Stanley and David, and both of them had come here for hunting with Richard. Here Stanley was staring at Jennifer with his dirty looks, which Jennifer does not like, so she goes inside the room. Now Richard tells his friends that this girl Jennifer is his girlfriend, and he also explains to his friends that his wife should not know about this. At night, all of them sit together and start drinking. Here Stanley starts flirting with Jennifer, and David takes his binoculars and starts staring at Jennifer's body. Now in the meantime, they see the drugs in Richard's hand. Jennifer asks Richard that, "What do you have?" Richard tells them about this drug, that this drug is very harmful. It is dangerous because once a man consumed it and he got so intoxicated that he cut his leg and ate it, and due to this, all the blood of his body was drained out and he died. After this, Richard gives this drug to Jennifer and tells her to hide it properly. Jennifer hides the drug in her locket. After this, Jennifer starts the music and asks Richard to dance with her, but Richard refuses to dance. So she starts dancing with Stanley. After dancing for a while here, they go to their room to sleep. Next morning, when Jennifer opens her eyes, she cannot find Richard anywhere. Jennifer asks Stanley about Richard, on which Stanley tells her that he has gone somewhere with my passport, and maybe he will return by noon, and right now David is also very drunk, so only we two are alone in this house. After saying this, he starts staring at her with his lustful eyes. Jennifer doesn't like this, so she gets up from there and goes inside the house. Stanley also secretly follows her and watches her changing clothes. Jennifer sees him and she gets very scared. Stanley goes to Jennifer and asks her, "What do you think about me?" Jennifer tells him that you are not my type, but Stanley tells her that last night you danced with me, so I thought that maybe you like me. Jennifer tells him that I danced with you as a friend, but I don't like you. Stanley gets angry after hearing this from Jennifer and starts forcing himself on her. Meanwhile, David reaches there and he sees Stanley doing all this with Jennifer. Jennifer thinks that David will save her, but he closes the door without saying anything and leaves from there. Now Stanley was left with Jennifer alone. Later, we see Richard coming back and he finds that Jennifer was crying here. Now Richard, seeing Jennifer crying, calms her down, but Jennifer tells him to call a helicopter immediately. She says, "I have to leave from here," but Richard starts convincing Jennifer and asks her to sleep. Now the next day, Richard comes to Jennifer and tells her that I have put a lot of money in your account, and also tells her to forget whatever my friend did to you. On hearing this, Jennifer gets angry at him and asks him to call a helicopter immediately, as Richard was supporting his friend's crime. Now Jennifer starts packing. After this, Richard tells Jennifer that you are so beautiful that no man will be able to stop himself after seeing you. And the same thing has happened with my friend. It's not his fault, so please forgive my friend. But on hearing this, Jennifer gets very angry and threatens him that she will tell his wife about their romance. On hearing this, Richard slaps her hard. Jennifer tries to run away, but all 3 friends start chasing her. Jennifer reaches a mountain while running and stops there, and in the meantime, all 3 people follow her there, and all 3 start telling her not to run away from them. Then Richard calls a helicopter, but actually, he was pretending to show this to Jennifer. Jennifer gets convinced by Richard's words, but then Richard pushes her down the cliff, due to which Jennifer falls on a pointed piece of wood which goes through her body. And on seeing this, all three friends believe that maybe Jennifer is dead now. After this, Stanley asks Richard, "Why did you do this?" To which Richard tells him that if she escapes from here, all three of us could be jailed, and that is why I had to kill her. Also, he tells his friends to forget about what has just happened here. After this, all three friends come home and start burning all of Jennifer's things so that they can erase all the evidence of Jennifer's presence here. On the other hand, we see that Jennifer is still alive. Now the next day, all three friends were going to destroy Jennifer's body completely, but they did not know that Jennifer is still alive. Meanwhile, when Jennifer regains consciousness, she finds out that she is hanging from a tree and a piece of wood is sticking out of her stomach. Now after this, Jennifer tries to pick up her, using which she sets fire to the root of that tree. Due to the fire, the branch of the tree burns, and Jennifer falls down, and after this, she hides behind a rock. Now when these three friends reach that place, they find that Jennifer's body is missing. They get surprised, and they understand that Jennifer is still alive. After this, they start searching for Jennifer. It gets quite late while searching for Jennifer. But finally they find Jennifer's blood marks, and these three friends start following the blood trail. While following those marks, they reach to a river where they get separate and start searching for Jennifer. On the other hand, while searching for Jennifer, David stops at a place to relieve himself and keeps his gun there. But in the meantime, Jennifer reaches there and picks up his gun and points it at him. Jennifer is about to shoot him, but the gun is locked. Then David snatches the gun from her and tries to kill her by dipping her in the water, but while doing so, David's knife comes in Jennifer's hand. Jennifer throws that knife at him, which hits his eye, and David starts screaming, and he dies right there. After this, Jennifer takes out the knife from his eye and keeps it with her. Later, Jennifer takes his gun, his bike, and other stuff and leaves from there and reaches a cave. Now here, Jennifer first lights a fire, and after this starts checking David's bag. Jennifer finds a beer can in this bag and starts drinking it. Here, Jennifer was in a lot of pain, so she takes out that drug from her locket, which Richard had given her. Jennifer takes that drug, and it ends her pain. After which, Jennifer takes out that piece of wood that had entered her stomach, and to stop the bleeding from her body, she heats that beer can bottle and applies it on her wound. Next morning, when Stanley goes to wash his face in the river, then David's body comes in front of him. Now he gets very sad, seeing his friend's dead body. He gets scared and starts running from there. Meanwhile, Richard also reaches there. He takes out the dead body, after which they fill the dead body with stones and throw it back inside the river. Richard gets angry at Stanley and punches him, which breaks his nose, because one of his friends was killed because of Stanley. On the other hand, when Jennifer regains consciousness and wakes up, she finds that her wound has healed completely. After this, as soon as Jennifer comes out of the cave, Richard comes there and hits Jennifer's head with a gun, but this is just a dream. Then Jennifer wakes up, and she starts hallucinating about David's body. Jennifer starts losing her senses, because she was still under influence of the drug, but somehow she opens her eyes. After this, Jennifer picks up her gun and comes out and starts looking around with binoculars. On the other hand, Richard and Stanley decide to go separately to find Jennifer. After that, Richard leaves from there, and Stanley takes out a mirror and starts looking at his face. But due to the reflection of Stanley in this mirror, Jennifer sees him from a distance, and she knows that there is someone there. After this, when Jennifer reaches there, she finds that it was Stanley. Meanwhile, the petrol in Stanley's car runs out, and he comes out of the car to refill petrol in the car. Then Jennifer gets a chance and shoots him with her gun. But this bullet hits his shoulder, due to which Stanley starts running from there. Then he finds that his blood marks are falling on the ground behind him, and that is why Stanley takes off his shoes and takes off his socks and puts them on his wound. After that, Stanley runs away from there and hides behind a rock. Then Jennifer comes there and starts searching for Stanley, but in the meantime, Stanley comes from behind her and tries to shoot her with a gun, but that bullet hits Jennifer's ear. Now, Jennifer starts running from there. Jennifer gets into trouble and Stanley starts chasing her. While running, Jennifer drops some pieces of glass on the ground, and these pieces of glass get stuck in Stanley's feet. Now, Stanley takes out those pieces of glass from his feet and chases Jennifer in his car, but Jennifer shoots Stanley and he dies. Now, after this, Jennifer takes Stanley's car and leaves for Richard's house. On the other hand, Richard also does not find Jennifer, and so he also comes home. Then he calls his pilot and tells him to come here immediately. Now, after this, Richard goes to the bathroom to take shower. When Richard is taking a bath here, he hears someone's voice from outside. So Richard picks up his gun and goes outside to check, but he finds that there is no one there. So when Richard comes inside his house, he finds that Jennifer is standing outside with a gun pointed at him. Richard tries to talk to her, but then Jennifer starts shooting at him and a bullet hits Richard's stomach. Richard tries to run away from there in his injured state, and Jennifer starts chasing him. But then Richard catches Jennifer and tries to strangle her, but Jennifer puts her finger in his wound and Richard leaves Jennifer. Now Jennifer picks up her gun and shoots Richard in the head, and Richard dies on the spot, and in this way, Jennifer's revenge was complete. Now after this, Jennifer comes out of the house where the helicopter, which Richard had called, had also arrived. And this is where the movie ends. So friends, if you like the video, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thanks for watching.